Caste is a generations-old form of discrimination, a way to marginalize someone in a social hierarchy based on their birth. Originating in South Asia, some say caste discrimination has made its way here to the United States. And now a movement is underway to add caste as a protected class to state and cities' anti-discrimination laws. But not everyone is supportive of the efforts, saying that it just brings attention to a painful practice of the past. Reena Roy traveled to the West Coast to get firsthand accounts from people who say they've suffered from caste discrimination.
When I think about the suffering of my people, it causes such a deep pain in my heart.
The caste discrimination has become a predominant problem in the U.S., and it has to be addressed legally.
And it's very painful because it's not just slurs and bullying and taunts between people. It's structural discrimination.
A lot of people are getting housing discrimination, discrimination in jobs like restaurant workers, Uber drivers, on top of people who are in tech and medicine.
It happens in America?
Here.
Now, caste, like race and class, is a social relationship. And caste operates as an engine of social hierarchy and as a form of political and economic inequality.
Oh, this guy, what's his name? You know the guy, you guys have a picture of him? They call us a lower caste. In school, our kids, they get into discrimination. In colleges, workplaces, they're not getting promotion. Like everywhere.
It's a form of what we call heritable hierarchy, that is, you're born into caste, which means that caste has consequence for who has inherited privilege and who suffers historical discrimination.
The caste system is an ancient social construct that started in South Asia more than 3,000 years ago. Alok Kumbhare was born into the lowest caste, the Dalits, or so-called untouchables.
As a young child, I was really interested in music, wanted to learn music. But when we started the conversation with the teacher, the questions that he asked me, right, what is your last name? What do your parents do? And then he goes and tells me, hey, maybe music is not for everyone.
Did you feel it was because of your caste?
It was definitely because of my class. He started with asking my last name, right? That is one of the key markers of caste in India.
The ways in which caste operates in subtle and not so subtle ways. People trying to figure out what your caste is through your last name. All trying to get a sense of, ways in which you can cut into somebody's caste identity.
This implicit notion of superiority and inferiority, right, creeps in all the time. The landlady that I was renting from, she was really hostile. She said to me, I should have asked your caste before I rented a room to you. She told me, you stink up the toilet too much. I should have made you clean it. That's what you're good for. Right? That was the... Sorry.
It's still hard to talk about all these years later.
Many of the untouchable castes have a historic relationship with things like working with leather, which is defiling labor, removing dead carcasses, and manual scavenging. What you would have are communities that carried what we call night soil, literally, if you will excuse me, human, on their heads, right?
Many say similar caste-based beliefs are still prevalent today, even thousands of miles from its origin.
Here we are also seeing what I will call American caste. And it is happening as a kind of carryover of the past.
Dr. Anupama Rao is a history professor at Columbia University with a focus on South Asia.
So what does caste look like? Sort of in a kind of normative sense, caste has Brahmins or ritual specialists on top. You have so-called kshatriyas, warrior castes, those who wield the sword, involved in warfare, who are kind of second in that hierarchy. You have the mercantile castes, commercial communities called vaishyas. And then the majority of the population belongs to agrarian and artisanal communities, the so-called Shudra castes. Now, the outcasts, the so-called untouchables, the term today is Dalit, which is a term of militant self-identification. It means ground down, broken, crushed. And it's a term that the community has used in order to think about a politics of recognition, of dignity, and of demanding social, political, and civil rights.
In 1948, a year after independence from British rule, India banned discrimination on the basis of caste in its constitution, with the help of Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar, a civil rights leader from the Dalit caste. But culturally, many say caste discrimination still exists.
My family members, including my dad, my mom, and my sister, they were physically assaulted, they were brutally attacked.
Prem Pariyar was born in Nepal into the same caste, fleeing after his family was brutally attacked in an argument with a group from the dominant caste. Their story broadcast on Nepalese news. While seeking political asylum in the U.S., he says he faced similar discrimination in California's Bay Area.
So I got a job in a restaurant. This is very painful to talk about, So generally, restaurant owners, they provide shared housing for the workers. And there, my colleagues, my co-workers, who were from Nepal, who were from dominant caste, they refused to share, that room because of my caste identity. After a month, I was homeless almost because I was in a van and I felt insecure that time. That makes me cry. That makes me cry. But people, when we talk about our personal experience, they don't believe it.
People don't believe your experience.
Exactly. Not only my experience, our people's experience.
Caste even considered in the most intimate parts of people's lives.
Something like Indian matchmaking. Well, the big unspoken there is that they're looking for marriages within their caste.
It's mentioned within the first 4 minutes of the hit Netflix series.
In India, we have to see the caste, we have to see the height, we have to see the age.
How about this?
Intercaste marriage often frowned upon, causing rifts between families like Promila's.
Both sides of our families didn't agree to our marriage.
You're saying you're not going to accept anything like that?
No, I'm not going to accept it. We'll have to get rid of this problem for good. We come to US with the hope of having a better life for ourselves and our children. We don't want to come here and be discriminated all over again.
We shall learn. We shall learn.
Thenmori Sandadarajan, author of Trauma of Caste and founder of Equality Labs, was invited to speak at Google about caste bias, but she says some employees complained and it never happened.
I had a Google VP News manager tell me, caste is not a protected category. And that's just me as a speaker, imagining what they're telling to workers.
A Google spokesperson telling us in part, caste discrimination has no place in our workplace and it's prohibited in our policies. We have long hosted a variety of constructive conversations with external guests on these sorts of topics. Adding in this instance, there was specific conduct and internal posts that made employees feel targeted and retaliated against for raising concerns about a proposed talk. We made the decision not to move forward.
These are the numbers. Have you guys heard about the new bill, SB 403?
So we want to add caste in a protected category, just like race, religion, gender.
What do you think a statewide ban would do? What kind of future are you hoping to create here in California?
It's really about clarifying existing protections in the law and making them explicit. So caste is currently understood to be covered under existing protections of ancestry, race, and national origin.
We see the people who want to throw us back into centuries of violence, and we meet them here with love, with compassion.
Now a grassroots movement is spreading fast across the South Asian diaspora. Prem and Alok at the forefront of this fight.
I have experienced caste discrimination firsthand in the US in many forms.
In April, a contentious hearing at the state capitol in Sacramento, California, where anti-caste advocates are fighting to ban caste discrimination statewide.
It is so irrelevant. We are living our American dream. We work hard, we are living our life. There is no need to ask anybody's caste. Caste does not exist in America. In Indian American diaspora, there is no caste discrimination.
Tense clashes between people from both sides of the issue.
Never once have I questioned, wondered, been asked what my caste was. I never knew up until this bill was introduced. And the moment this happened, I started getting questions about what my caste is and how this affects me.
We strongly support this bill. We don't want any kind of caste discrimination.
Thank you very much.
SB 403 is the first of its kind in the nation. The bill would make caste a protected category in California's anti-discrimination laws, alongside race, sexual orientation, and gender. Introduced by State Senator Aisha Wahab.
As our state becomes more diverse, our laws need to go further and deeper in communities and tackle the issues that matter to them.
Do you think this is a turning point in history?
Oh, 100%.
But organizations like the Coalition of Hindus of North America are not on board, arguing there's no clear data to show caste discrimination even exists in the U.S.
I mean, it's made up things that are targeting a certain community.
Pushpita Prasad claims the very nature of anti-caste bills is discriminatory.
Laws like SB 403, laws like what Seattle passed, they are different from every other civil rights protection that is in the current code. We object to this word caste. The word caste is in the Western lexicon, is a Hindu-phobic term.
Many people associate caste with Hindu religion. This is true. But caste and caste-like differences and exclusions are also in evidence in Muslim and Christian communities across South Asia.
The fight over these bills personal for everyone involved.
When that incident of Google happened, I had to live in a safe house for 2 months because people were trying to attack me. They wanted to attack my elderly parents, find them and teach them a lesson.
For me to be asked to be fitted for a bulletproof vest, obviously things have escalated. You know, they don't want this bill to be passed, and we are going to fight till our last breath to make sure that this bill is passed.
SB 403 passed the California State Senate and could become law later this year.
This is about caste abolitionism, right? The total abolition of caste and all of the ways in which it operates as a kind of existential, economic, social, and political form of inequality.
This movement made international headlines in February when Seattle became the first jurisdiction outside of South Asia to ban caste discrimination.
This is truly historic, having Seattle become the first jurisdiction globally outside South Asia to ban caste discrimination, and it really wouldn't have been possible unless we had had overwhelming unity among working people to build a fighting movement.
These South Asians who help make up the fabric of this country say they won't give up on their idea of the American dream. Prem eventually graduated from Cal State University with a degree in social work, recently spearheading efforts to ban caste discrimination at his alma mater. Last year, the university adding caste as a protected category in its system-wide anti-discrimination policy.
I think that there is incredible hope in the way that we are turning pain into power. People are mobilizing to heal.
I want to protect my children. I want to protect the next generation from this injuries, insult, bullying that I went through. I don't want them to go through this. I will do everything in my power to prevent that from happening to them.
This ordinance is all about hope. It will create this ripple effect. This ordinance will have that ripple effect, and I hope that kind of creates a more inclusive environment and just creates a better world for everyone.
They say it's all about protecting their children. Our thanks to Reena for that.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.